Welcome to the Goddard Report. Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is David Chesney, White Rock, BC City Councillor and editor of the White Rock Sun. Welcome to the show, David.
Thank you very much, Jim. Good to be back with you.
Your community conversation that you hold with your constituents in White Rock every month, of course, wasn't held in January. For some reason, New Year's Eve and the meeting kind of conflicted. But what did they have to say to you last Saturday?
Well, Jim, I don't know whether it's really become widely known. It certainly is a hot topic here in White Rock, and I think next week the province newspaper has got a big story coming out on the reacquisition of the water system here in White Rock, which has been privately owned, most recently by the city of Edmonton, EPCOR, which has a number of water systems all over North America, actually, down through the U.S. and Canada. But since 2005, they have owned the water system here in White Rock. So the previous mayor and council, to me joining in November, started the process of buying back the water system. So that's kind of opened up a whole can of worms here. I think people, judging from the public meetings that we did have over the past 9 months, people were definitely in support of purchasing back and having the water under the control of the city of White Rock. But it seems to be fraught with some problems. How serious they're going to be, I don't think anybody knows exactly at this point in time. There was a line of thinking, and I think back in 2013, the city of White Rock approached the GVRD and said, just for conversation, how much would it cost for us to join up with the GVRD water system? Well, the price tag was put at $13 million, but unfortunately what people haven't added on to that is that would have been what it cost to hook up. We would have still had to have bought the whole water system in White Rock because we would be on the hook to put in all the pipes and everything. So the actual sale price, the city of White Rock has now taken control, but the city of White Rock and EPCOR unfortunately were unable to come to a negotiated, agreed price, so it's now going to binding arbitration. So people in White Rock are a little concerned. Fraser Health had told EPCOR that by June 1st, 2016, due to the level of manganese and arsenic in the system, that they would have to put in a secondary water treatment, which would mean the addition of chloramine, not just chlorine, but chloramine, which is a combination of chlorine and ammonia to the water. Well, that caused an absolute firestorm in White Rock when people started to find out, how nasty chloramine is. Now, the people that support the use of chloramine say, what's your worry? There's a lot of systems that have it, but then if you do take a look, if you were to Google chloramine dangers in drinking water, you'd probably be reading until you and I talk again in the next month. So it's a very, very hot issue. People are very concerned. Obviously, water is something that everybody uses. So we'll see where that goes. But I would say we'll see what happens with the article on January 16th. March 2nd, we have another community meeting here, so it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. I wouldn't even venture to say it's a mess, but it's not going to be as smooth a transition as perhaps many thought it was going to be.
What's the estimated cost of getting back control of your water system?
Well, that's the big question. Some of the figures, and of course, because negotiations have gone in private. At one point in time, the city was guesstimating that it looked like it was going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $20 to $22 million. That price could rise, and then we might be on the hook because of the arsenic manganese levels, which are high. And when Fraser Health appeared before council on January 11th, I asked the representative from Fraser Health, Dr. Murty, was it the source of the water that we have a problem with? And she said, no, your water is not bad, but that led me to believe, and I asked her the question, so I said, what you're telling me is our storage and delivery system is where we're running into the concentrated levels of manganese and arsenic that are high, and she said, that's correct. So it appears that we obviously possibly have a buildup of arsenic and manganese in the piping system, and that coupled with the natural arsenic and manganese in the aquifer are now putting us up where Canada Health says these are getting to be the level where there's some concern, and additional treatment will have to be done. If we have to put in another treatment center, EPCOR just built a $12 million chlorine treatment plant, and we may be on the hook for another $10 to $12 million treatment plant for arsenic and manganese. So the projected price, I don't know. I can't even take a guess. But if we were in the neighborhood of 2022 and we had another 10 or 12, you can see we're going to go into the 30 million, and depending on how much piping we have to replace if we do, I can't even venture a guess, to be very honest.
But probably cheaper for the city to do it than have to pay a private contractor, because, of course, they want to factor in a profit as well.
That's very true. That's very true.
Are citizens concerned about the quality of the water? At one time, I thought White Rock had some of the best water in the world.
Well, we did back before 2010, when there was a boil water advisory issued for White Rock because of possible E. coli high dangerous levels in some of the piping. That's sort of when everything kind of went sideways on us, and our drinking water went from, you're absolutely right, some of the best drinking water in British Columbia to, it's never been suspect. The water, I drink the water all the time, but I do have concerns now that I've had the opportunity to read as much as I have about chloramine. That's kind of a nasty combination, to be very honest.
Well, I hear, if you use bromide or chloramine, it kills pet fish.
Well, yes, and we live right on the edge of the ocean, as you know, and so any runoff of people washing their cars or watering their lawns, anything that goes into the storm sewer, we'll now have to put new treatment facilities at each one of those storm sewers to ensure, because anything that goes into that ocean, it'll kill all sea life if chloramine is in it.
Any thought about using ultraviolet light for purification like they do at the Capilano Reservoir? I
don't believe, from what I can understand, there's the aquifer, which is is called groundwater, and of course the Capilano and Seymour dams, that's referred to as surface water. I'm under the impression that it won't work in treating aquifer water.
David, any other big concerns happening in White Rock? I mean, the big discussion in Greater Vancouver are skyrocketing house prices.
Well, I thought you might get around to that, Jim. A side note, I just talked to a notary public last week who did the paperwork for an offshore investor that came through town 2 Saturdays ago and spent $38 million. It's been happening in White Rock for years, as it has been happening everywhere else. And South Surrey, too, has been hit incredibly hard with, basically ghost town subdivisions. The houses were bought and sold, and the only activity is the gardener that comes once a month to blow dry the driveway and cut the lawn and call it a day. So we have, our area out here is just as hard a hit as in Vancouver. So it's a big topic. We haven't quite seen the protests like they had in Shaughnessy in front of the mansion that was going to be knocked down, but it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before, this area too, the bubble, people keep saying the bubble's going to burst. I don't know. They've been saying that for 2 years, and that bubble just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So I'm not a land speculator, but to answer your question, absolutely, it's very much on the minds of the residents here. As more and more condos are built, 1/3 of the population of White Rock live in 1970-style 3-story walk-up condominium apartments, and their prices, as the new condos come on market, their prices are dropping exponentially. So there's concern at all levels about the real estate development in White Rock.
And, of course, too, people are worried about condo towers being built on the waterfront, blocking the view of the people who live on the hillside.
Well, we haven't had it on the waterfront yet. I don't think it's only a matter of time before somebody tries to push one through, but presently we haven't had any high rises on our waterfront. Though we have had a rather controversial development that was approved in principle a month or so back, with 2 giant 21 and 24-story towers right up on the top of the hill. It'll be a spectacular view, but Again, my stance has always been, and it's the promise that I made when I was elected, that I would not support any development outside of our clearly defined town center, and these two condos and numerous other ones are popping up all over outside of the town center. So, and it comes at a time when we're actually redoing our official community plans. So the community is very concerned that there seems to be a giant game of whack-a-mole when it comes to development going on in White Rock.
What about traffic and urban sprawl? They're going to build this giant 10-lane bridge over the Fraser River, replacing the Massey Tunnel. Has that created fears that White Rock is going to become a hot point of development?
I don't really think so. The bridge, let's call an ace and a spade a spade. That bridge is being built to allow giant tanker traffic, shipping traffic up and down the Fraser River. Right now, it's only about 13 or 15 feet draw between the top of the tunnel and the top of the water. So they've been unable to really open up development along the Fraser River. So I know that's the reason they're putting that bridge in. It has nothing to do with, moving the traffic any better. The traffic in the morning has always been a problem out here, but by building that bridge, all you're going to do is move the backup across the bridge, because you're still going to funnel everything down into a 2-lane Oak Street bridge. 4-lane, actually, 2 lanes each way. So it's not going to really do anything to allow you to get into Vancouver any quicker. It might allow you to get past the Fraser River quicker, and then you're just going to be in gridlock.
Are you disappointed that there are no plans to put rapid transit over that bridge?
Well, I don't think there will ever be any plans for, decades, for rapid transit, out to the South Surrey White Rock area. I mean, if the northern part of Surrey is still wrestling with light rail, way back, I think it was probably in 2005, 2002, GVRD did a study and said the two main places that they were against densification were White Rock and Tuason, and the reason being that they didn't foresee anywhere in the next 50 years that there would be rapid transit to either one of those areas. Yet White Rock has kind of not heeded that warning and gone ahead and built condos. So I don't think we're ever going to see that rapid transit come out to our area, Jim.
Well, I wonder what the plans are for Tuason, where there used to be a nice straight 4-lane road straight out to the ferry terminal. Now it's a snake's nest of over and underpasses.
Yeah, isn't it? So
what are they planning to do to that community? It's not going to be a rural farming area anymore.
No, and that part, is basically, the Delta Ladner area is where all the farms are, where Tuason is, there's some massive housing developments that have been approved out there in the last couple of years. I don't know that they've approved any high-rises, to the best of my knowledge. They may have, but I haven't heard that there's been any big major high-rise developments heading for Tuason. And, of course, White Rock, given the spectacular ocean view, is why they all want to build their high-rises here. I understand that, But, again, as I say, I'll dig my heels in deep and hard to stay with the official community plan. If the community decides, let's expand our town center, let's bring more development in here, let's bring, more wealth, more commerce to the city, it'll boost our town center, then if that's the wishes of the community of White Rock, I will adhere to them. But at the present time, anything outside of the town center I will not support.
And, of course, too, White Rock, although it's near Vancouver, it's quite south of the area. The climate in White Rock is different. It's not rainy. It has a Northern California climate where you have maybe 25 inches of rain a year. The North Shore is more like 150 inches. And that's in the space of 25 miles.
Yeah.
So you have a whole nicer outlook. And has the nature of the community in White Rock changed? It used to be a place where people retired.
Well, I think you're still seeing a lot of that. The condominiums that are selling are very high-end, 2-bedroom and den, 1,500 square feet, because mom and dad they're now selling the house, and they want to downsize, but they don't want to downsize to a 950 square foot condominium. They want the hats, horns, whistles, bells, all the toys. They want a big place. They want a cement building. They want a games room, a family room. There's one going in across the road from me with a reflection pool and workout facilities. And secure underground parking for at least 2 vehicles. So the high-end retiree market seems to be what's selling here in White Rock. You can't sell the Yaletown experience to a young family here. You're looking at an hour and a half drive each way every day. So there's 3 hours on your day. That's a little difficult. People that have lived here for years that make that drive, I guess they kind of just got used to it and have figured out a pattern or a time to go that they can miss a lot of the traffic. But, minimum, they're still looking at an hour and 15 minutes. So it's very difficult. And of course, there's nowhere to work in White Rock. Surrey isn't really a hotbed of industry and jobs either. So most of the people have to go through the tunnel or over the bridge to work, and therein lies the problem of trying to attract young families out to this area.
Have people commented on their property tax assessments?
Well, everybody's very happy that their assessed value is rising exponentially. Basically a dump push-down house on a building lot in White Rock is now averaging about $850,000, and most of these people bought those houses at $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 25 years ago. So they're very happy with the assessed value. They're not very happy with their taxes, because what's happening now is, and it has been happening for years in White Rock, you can defer your taxes. And it's put against the mortgage, so when mom or dad pass away and the home is sold, the first thing that's paid off is the back taxes. So a lot of the seniors in White Rock that have these funky little houses that are still here that paid, very little for them, they've now got massive tax bills, and they simply can't afford to pay them anymore.
David, thanks a lot for chatting with us.
Jim, my pleasure, and we'll look forward to you next month. And for anybody that's out there listening to this, try to get a community conversation going in your neighborhood. Phone one of your councillors and tell them, hey, we should all get together at the library and have a little talk.
Yes, I know so-called public hearings at City Council. I've watched them happen. And it seems to me a lot of the councillors take that opportunity to go and refill their coffee cups or whatever. I don't know if you really get listened to.
Well, come on out to the community conversation. We talk and listen.
David, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Have a great day.
My guest has been David Chesney, White Rock, BC City Councillor and editor of the White Rock Sun. You're listening to the Goddard Report on TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Find us on Twitter at TalkDigitalNet. Our popular YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. Comments about the show can be emailed to info@HowStreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. Thanks for listening.
In Goddard we trust. Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. The Goddard Report is available online and mobile at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. The Goddard Report is a production of How Street Media Incorporated.